Bob Ellenberg, and I do thank all of you for being here this morning. Let me start by saying some of the folks that were here yesterday said they were just overwhelmed with information. I am going to tell you that it is a lot to take in, but we have set up a website, and we're going to put the information up on that website, and at the end of the presentation I'll be giving you that information. So if you're not able to make quite all the notes you want right now, don't be too concerned. The issue of payment for the debris removal, in my opinion, is the most critical issue that is before you at this point in this disaster. Folks are feeling like they have to make decisions about things right now. So that's going to be the real focus this morning, is the right of entry permit. It's the legal agreement that you execute with the county regarding having them pick up the debris. That is not your only option. You can use private contractors. It's been done in other disasters like this. You may or may not want to do that, but at least if you know some details about it and you have that option, you can make a better informed decision. Another item is that in the past, when they do this debris removal program with Cal Recycle, they say it's all or nothing. We're going to take up everything. We're going to take up all the footings, all the piers, everything. And if you don't want to do that, we won't do your cleanup. Now, that was stated at Monday's press conference. There's a lot of pushback on that. I think they've already changed their position, that they will maybe leave in some piers. Engineers are raising some questions. So we're going to talk about that too. It's a very important issue, and one that literally is evolving. And the issue related to private contractors and foundations ties in very clearly to the issue of the right of entry permit, but I'm going to be basically focusing on how the terms of the right of entry permit have changed from the past ones that they've done in regards to control of the money. My goal here is for you to leave better informed. I won't be telling you what kind of decision to make, but I'll be giving you clear information. I know this material extremely well. I will not tell you anything that's not factual, and I will be showing you documents to back up the factual things that I'm telling you. As most of you can guess, I'm not originally from here. The accent's from the Carolinas. It's where I grew up. All you folks in California talk funny, but I still understand you. So you can do the same with me. My business partner and I have been over in Lake County working for the last 2 years since the Valley Fire. The year before that, we were up in Weed, a little town where about 150 homes all burned, almost a year to the date before the Valley Fire. In both of those catastrophes, the debris removal program was there. I was very, very involved in it, from educating people to handling aspects of it for people who were clients of mine. I will tell you that nearly 3 years afterwards, a lot of the issues still haven't been resolved in Weed, and they're just barely scratching the surface in Lake County 2 years afterwards in terms of payment for the debris removal bills. So real important things. I will tell you that how I'm asking you to listen to me today. My qualifications, why should you be here? My partner and I have been in the adjusting field for property claims combined over 40 years. We've both been licensed general contractors. We understand building. He, in fact, is still a licensed general contractor in the state of California. I have worked on the insurance industry side for many years, and I have worked for many years as a public adjuster, helping people get everything that they're entitled to under their insurance policies. I will not be talking about public adjusting at all today. It's prohibited by the California Department of Insurance rules this soon after a catastrophe, and I wouldn't be anyway. My sole purpose here today is to help people in this early stage make decisions and get more information. So I will tell you that from my experience related to the debris removal, and a lot of my clients did use the program, if people understood the details, they fully understood the terms of their policies, if I helped them, and the way the right of entry permit was written in both Weed and Lake County, they eventually got their money and the county got all that they were supposed to. But the collection of funds here in Sonoma and Santa Rosa is going to be very different from a payment standpoint. So with the new right of entry permit, you are giving them direct access to your insurance money. I'm going to be real specific, show you the language wording of that a little bit later. But I will tell you that there have been so many errors in the ones that we were involved in both Weed and Lake, and that would have been only a fraction of all the claims. But people could straighten them out because they were still in control of their money. I know there will be problems in how things are calculated, how they're done down the road. If you're willing to trust a bureaucracy to do this correctly and leave all the money they're supposed to in your policy, I have some waterfront property down in the Everglades I'd like to sell you. Joking aside, I'm not here to bash the governmental agencies. They have a tremendous job to do. Their task is overwhelming. But nonetheless, you as an individual need to be aware of what you need to do to protect your insurance money. So I'm going to start out with a couple of slides I added at the last moment. On the Cali OES FEMA website, this fact sheet was put up just a couple of days ago. And I know you can't see, it's kind of fuzzy there. It's talking about the October 2017 California wildfires, debris removal. And so over on page 4, it says frequently asked questions about insurance. And I think you can read this one, but let's go to this question number 16. What portions of my homeowner's policy will the county collect for debris removal? And their answer was, it depends on the policy you have, and there are generally 2 types of debris removal coverages in a homeowner's insurance policy. So I'm going to stop right there. That statement is true, but how they explain them is not correct. Every policy for property insurance, I mean 100% of them, pay for the debris removal from within the coverage first. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've never seen a property policy that did not provide for debris removal, and it always pays it from the coverage first. Many policies, I will say most all homeowners policies, have an additional extra coverage. It gets paid when the first coverages are exhausted. The way it's explained here is very different. So let me read this to you. We'll start at the bottom. It says no specific amount. Another type of debris removal insurance policy does not have a specified amount, but includes the cost of debris removal in the total proceeds provided for the primary structure of the structures and personal property. No, every policy is like that. It says another type, and I'm telling you it's 100%. Toward the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you the language from policies. This is exactly what it says. Let's go back to the one up here that they described. Specific amount, specified amount. One type of debris removal insurance coverage contains a separate, specific debris clause, typically capped at a percentage of the coverage amounts listed in the policy. For example, 5% of the value of the primary structure of the structure's personal property. No, it is not a separate amount that says this is for debris removal and that's what we pay for debris removal and that's all we pay for debris removal. There's not a policy anywhere that reads that way. It tells you that it is an additional extension of coverage if the primary coverage is not enough to cover all of it. Every policy is like that. This is not correct. And this is the basis for some of the problems with the way the right of entry permit is written, a lack of understanding of how the insurance actually works. So just quickly, I like to use this as an example of most insurance claim settlements after a disaster like this. Most people get enough money to rebuild a house, but not maybe the house that they had. Maybe they were underinsured. Maybe the insurance company underestimated the value of their claim, or maybe they lost a huge amount of their rebuilding money to debris removal. It can be any way, but you want to make sure that you protect your money and that you get all you're entitled to. In weed, average debris removal bill, $51,380. I had every last one of them to review, so I know an exact amount. And that doesn't include the commercial buildings or the churches. Didn't have all that access in Lake County, but according to statements made at public meetings by the county administrator, $100,000 was the average in Lake County from the Valley Fire. My business partner has seen one that was right at $275,000 for the debris removal. The press conference on Monday, the gentleman who is regional director from OES made several statements. I had a real concern, and at that press conference, I specifically asked a very respectful question and said, you know, I believe the intent is to only take the access that you are talking about, but that's not the way the right of entry permit is worded. Are you willing to adjust the right of entry permit language, tweak it to make it match up to what you're saying is the intent? He said, no, that's the way it's written properly. So these are several of the statements he made. I did a transcript, and so these are word for words. Finally, I can't stress enough, and it's written clearly in the ROE, and I'm happy to point people to the sections in the ROE. There is no cost to you. We won't look to collect your insurance proceeds if you have insurance. And if your insurance proceeds are part of a large clause, we will look to collect after you have rebuilt. Sounds good. Elsewhere in his presentation, when people question about the way it's written, let me be clear again. The question is the belief that we are going to go after your full insurance. Okay, if there is a debris clause in your insurance, that is the only thing that we will be looking to collect. And it says that in the second paragraph of item 2 in the right of entry form. If you have a debris clause, that is the only part of your insurance we are going to look to collect. Again, these sound like pretty good reassuring statements. The only time we would be looking at any of the rest of your insurance is if you do not have a debris clause. Then after you have rebuilt, if there are any proceeds left, we would be looking to collect those. Well, what if you don't rebuild? Your insurance policy owes you whether you rebuild or not. You may want to do something different with the money. This isn't addressed anywhere. So let's look at the right of entry permit that's been used in the past. This is what I was expecting when I came over here. State law requires the owner to reimburse the county for the cost of removing wildfire-generated debris to the extent covered in the owner's insurance policy. This is the difficult part when you get to the statement to the extent covered in the insurance policy. It is a number that has to be calculated, and those calculations are very often made based on a professional's opinion. It's not a definitive amount. Some will use some real simple numbers. If you've got a homeowner's policy for $100,000, you have 5% extra, you have another $5,000 out there for debris removal. So let's say it cost $110,000 to rebuild your house. Well, the insurance company's only going to give you $100,000, that's the limit, and there's another $5,000 that they're going to add for debris removal. That's what you would owe to the county under their program. Let's say that it only costs $75,000 to rebuild your house. The debris payment starts at $75,001. So we've got the $25,000 left in the policy, and then we have another $5,000, so there's $30,000 under that scenario. But what if you think it's going to cost $100,000 to rebuild your house, but the insurance company only thinks it's going to cost $75,000? Whose opinion is right? Who decides that $30,000 goes toward debris removal instead of $5,000, and that you get $75,000 instead of $100,000 toward your house? There's a lot of questions here that are not answered, and I can tell you these are some of the battles that I'm still fighting from 3 years ago in weed, from 2 years ago in the Valley Fire. The difference is that in their right of entry permit, there's no requirement to have the insurance company pay the county direct. In this right of entry permit here, it says you reimburse. In other words, you had a contract of insurance with your insurance company over here, and you executed a right of entry permit. You had an insurance contract, right of entry permit. The insurance company owes you the money, you owe it to the county. If there's a dispute, you're in the middle, you're in control of the money. There was never any requirement that you turn over access to your funds. You just had to pay the bill. Okay, let's go on. So the right of entry permit, I will tell you, is quite a bit longer, contains a lot of legalese. I'm not going to read it all, but let's just look at this one highlighted statement right here. Owner will not be charged for the work conducted by the county. So I will tell you that in Weed and in Lake County, people got bills. They just have recently sent out the invoices in Lake County. They send it to the individual, so they got a bill. So this sounds good. Well, they're not going to need to send you a bill here. They don't need to charge you because you will have given them the right to collect the money directly from the insurance company. He referred to paragraph 2 in his presentation. He says this is where the clear details are. So let's take a quick look at this. At the top, it's talking about if you have private insurance coverage and that they come in and do the cleanup, that they are required to collect the money, and requires owner to reimburse county for the cost of removing wildfire-generated debris to the extent covered in the owner's insurance policy. Well, that's the exact wording that I just read you in the right of entry permit that I said I like. But what's added here? I'm going to read this slowly. Owner hereby assigns to county any and all insurance proceeds he, she would be entitled to for the removal of debris and damaged items from the property. Owner agrees to inform the insurance company listed below of this assignment and will instruct the insurance company to issue all insurance proceeds directly to the county. Well, here's what I think that says. That example I gave you a while ago, $100,000 policy, you've now assigned rights to the county. The insurance company says, I think it'll only cost $75,000 to rebuild that house. They write the county a check for the other 25 and the other 5. That's what I believe it says. However, I'm not an attorney. I can't define the word assignment, so let's see what it says. The definition is in Black's Law Dictionary. In contracts, the act by which one person transfers to another or causes to vest in that other the whole of the right, interest, or property which he has in any realty or personalty, in possession or in action, or any share, interest, or subsidiary estate therein. Personally, I think that's pretty clear. But let's go on. We're back to the right of entry permit, paragraph 2. At the top where it's saying, okay, if the owner has insurance in effect at the wildfire that provide coverage for debris removal and or vehicle removal, or provide any other similar coverages. They don't want to miss anything, do they? The owner hereby assigns any and all rights, benefits, and proceeds with respect to that particular coverages under any applicable insurance policy to the county. Owner also hereby authorizes that any benefits or proceeds payable under the coverage for vehicle and debris removal or any other similar coverages be paid directly to the county up to the specified amount of coverage. So the intent may be to only collect this little bit of money, but again, I'm not an attorney, but what that says to me is if my insurance policy pays for debris removal out of my main coverage, and I can tell you as a very experienced guy who's been doing this for many, many years, they all do, 100% of the policies do. That's what just got assigned. In the event coverage for debris removal or any similar coverages are not provided on the basis of a specified amount, okay, but are included within another coverage category, payment to the county shall be limited to the unused benefit amount, if any, in that coverage category after the residence is rebuilt, after which the owner shall not be liable for further cost to county. Okay, so what they're saying here is we have access to all of it, and here they're saying, but we're not going to take it all. Okay, well, what if you don't rebuild? What if you rebuild a different house? What if you rebuild at a different location? What if you go buy a house somewhere else? What about where you have a policy that will pay you all of your proceeds, whether you rebuild or not, and you choose not to? How much money do you owe the county? What if you have a policy that only pays you part of your proceeds, which is a lot of the policies, and you don't get the rest of them unless you replace it, you go buy something somewhere else, or you rebuild something somewhere else, and you haven't done that? How much money are you going to owe the county? Do they get all of that additional money? I don't know. I'm just saying these are questions that should concern people.